Well, good evening, everybody. Hello, welcome back to TTC. We have the Premier tier back once again here on a Wednesday night, as per usual. And as usual, you have Mr. Bobberts by himself in the box. What have we got for you tonight? Well, we are actually into the final three rounds of the season. And here for you tonight, we are under the lights, under the Las Vegas Strip. I think currently I've seen is actually maybe experience some heavy rain actually in real life. As to whether we're going to get that here tonight, that will be, well, we'll have to wait and see. We are still waiting for the final few drivers to finally join in. Although, do we actually have a full? Yeah, we do have a full grid actually. So yeah, still waiting for two more drivers to get their asses into the lobby so we can get ourselves going. But like I said, good evening to you all. Hope you've all had a good day. Hope you've all had a decent week so far. Obviously, we do have the actual Las Vegas Grand Prix this weekend. Who's going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday British time to watch it? I'll tell you one thing, I probably won't be because I will be out on Saturday night. But what can we expect here tonight? Well, there is a possibility, just like last week, that the team's title could be wrapped up for Shazoo. They simply just need to make sure they're not outscored by FRT, who moved themselves up into second place in the standings by at least 6 points, and Ventari by 23. And that is all based off because Shazoo have obviously won more races this season. And if it came back to a tie, I believe it goes down to a tiebreaker on wins, then Shazoo would win that based off countback. But obviously, teams can still get minus points. FRT have had that happen this season, as have BRC, just to name them two, for example. But still, do you expect them to get minus points? I hope not. But let's wait and see either way. We're still waiting. Last few weeks we've actually been on time. It's been going all right. And yet now tonight we don't seem to have that. And people just simply do not want to bother. As usual, if you do want to get a fact about Las Vegas, then you know what you need to do. With inflation supposedly dropping slightly here in the UK, we're certainly not going to be dropping the price for how many points you need to spend if you want a Vegas fact. I have a few lined up ready and waiting for you, but if your name is Oscar or Volakongan and you do not have the points, then you're going to have to beg for somebody else to do it for you, and it's going to spend those points for you. Either way, 19 drivers here. I'm just going to quick scroll down and see who it is we are potentially missing. I'm going to hazard a guess it's the second Haas. It is indeed the second Haas for BRC. Just looking at the pretend watch that I've got on my wrist, thinking, how much longer are we going to be? Oh. Anyway. We'll quickly go through obviously what happened last week in Japan. Completely different track obviously to what we've got here for you tonight. Regarding Steward's aspect firstly, so VNT's Nico got a penalty, as did Andrea, and that was actually it. So it did mean that, in fact, actually we now actually have 20 drivers. So in fact, before I do that, we will tell the drivers to get going. We're not going to wait any longer. There is no point. Everyone is here. But yes, now let's look at the standings based off last week. And last week was actually FRT's best result of the entire season. 46 points they got last week for their two drivers. And that actually being obviously Quantum, who finished P2, and David, who finished in P3, so double podium for FRT. And that actually, like I said, managed to leapfrog them, I should say, ahead of Ventari, who did not have the best of races, finishing only in P6 for Spala, and Nico finishing P14 after trying to help his teammate, which didn't really work out. So they suffered as a result, and for the first time this season, I think, I have a look at the points aspect, yes, indeed, the first time this season they've not been in the top two or second all season. So they've got it all to do if they want to get that second place back from FRT, who have realistically, besides Shazoo, been the team on the move in recent races. In fact, arguably, ever since China. Ever since China, so the last 4 rounds as a cumulative, FRT have been the team to beat. So, they've got the points when they need to. We're still not ready up. Why are we why are we waiting? You know, it's now 6 minutes past 8 o'clock here in the UK. Why the hell would I want to be waiting any longer than this? But clearly, drivers just don't want to bother to go. I know it's Vegas, and I know it's freaking. It's not the best of circuits, I suppose, really, unless it's some people's favourite. I don't know. I don't care. Either way. Finally, we're gonna get going. Sick, freaking late. Evening. Hello, Mr. Rose, Upper Bobbert, nice to see you, thank you. That's, probably going to be the nicest only comments I'm going to get all night, especially when Smeggy decides to join in and has his 2 pence saying on there, just saying something about me, which is, just a standard thing every single week. But good evening to you all, good evening, Grumpy. Knight saying, Kevin for the win, trust. Knight, how much are you willing to bet? £10, is that a fair enough bet for you? Do you think he's going to get it? Last time I made a £10 bet, which is actually against my colleague, regarding something completely different. I won that bet, so on a bit of a roll. Your life savings, is that about 10 pence then, rather than 10 quid? Or all of nothing? Skybet has it at 10 to 1. 10 to 1 odds. Maybe I should actually do a thing called Bobbert's Bets. That has a little ring to it. Maybe we should get that growing. I don't know if will that stick around. Probably not. Oh, there we go. Scoreline has requested a fact already. So Scoreline, your fact is that the MGM Grand in obviously downtown Las Vegas. You can't quite see it on the pictures as you can see on here, but it is the world's largest hotel. It has 6,852 rooms spread over 30 floors. Has 4 featured pools, 3 whirlpools, a spa, luxury sports bar, etc., etc., and it covers 170,000 square feet. Well, I said about rain earlier on in real life, and it actually happening in Vegas, and you know what? We've got it here again. We've got it here on the game. So, the second week running, we're going to have a wet quality. Actually, was it wet last week? I can't actually remember now. I want to say it was. Either way. Evening, Adam. Good evening to you once again. Hello, everybody. Let's get more people in. Let's have some fun tonight. Like I said, 3 rounds to go this season, which is nearly wrapped up. Obviously, teams towards the top just waiting to get that money into their bank accounts and to then do whatever it is they're going to do with it. I'll tell you now, I'm not getting a single. I've still not got a single penny from doing the comps. Actually, let's put it that way. But look at the man who's at the top of the standings there. It's Mr. Crowding. Is he going to stay there? No, definitely not. But let's scroll down. Obviously, we've got a few minutes to wait yet until what is going to be Cooper Fan, who's going to be the first driver to set a lap time. Jack, what's my favourite Christmas decoration? Well, Jack, I'll be brutally honest, I'm a bit of a Scrooge when it comes to Christmas. It's overhyped. It's just not. It's not. For me, it's a little bit. I'm not saying it's pointless. Obviously, obviously for those who actually are religious and whatnot, then I can completely understand it. But yeah, I'm a bit of a Scrooge. So I guess you could say that I would actually be the Grinch. If that was a decoration, I would be the Grinch. I guess if I had to pick something, I mean, I do like, a good Christmas bauble on a tree, depending on, obviously, that's just whatever my personal preference would be. I mean, I was at Burton Grange Garden Centre actually last weekend. For those who don't know, that's in Garstang, just outside Preston, and there actually were some good Christmas baubles actually out on there. Some of them did look actually quite cool, actually, in all honesty. As Cooper Fan goes past Caesar's Palace, there you can see all the hotels, all the shining lights, all the artificial lights. It's exactly what you love to see. If you say that Christmas is overhyped, again, I'll freak you up, bro. Yes, I did say that, Night. I did just say that. But that's just... Well, let's just put it this way. When you have to freaking listen to Christmas music already in work because you have to listen to heart radio, then, it does you absolute nutting. And I think I actually have, I'm allowed to kind of say that, really. But anyway, enough of Christmas. Let's go stick on with Cooper Fan. He is the first driver to set a lap time here around the Las Vegas street circuit. As obviously, we bear in mind TRT do have a double qualifying ban, by the way. So as we've already come through the first 4 turns already on this difficult, slippery, intermediate, wet condition track. Obviously no DRS down this first part here for Cooper Fan as we go into the heavy braking zone of turn 5, 90-degree right hand of the car. Sliding there, the rear just completely losing grip, but a bit too much rear brake bias potentially there through turn 6 now into turn 7 and 8. That is called the wall. You kind of want to avoid that really as much as you possibly can. Either way, Cooper Fan decided that he wanted to hit the wall as we come through the tight twisty section of 7, 8 and 9, back onto the throttle gently-ish, I guess you could say there, through what is turn 10. On this right-hander, which probably has been difficult obviously in the wet conditions. This is turn 11 and now into turn 12 where you can easily just turn in too early and run the car too far wide on the exit there, which Cooper Fan very nearly did there, almost coming a cropper into the wall, but manages to keep it just about away from it enough. Now down this insanely long back straight, those who remember the amazing last lap pass by Charles Leclerc on Sergio Perez a couple of years ago, that was an overtake to behold. It was absolutely brilliant. 208 miles an hour we topped out there, coming into the chicane section of 14, 15 and 16 here for Cooper Fan. Again, getting a little tense double throttle. Just want to make sure he gets a lap time on the board. We then have the little kink of turn 17 to finish us off here. What is it going to be for the Williams man? The answer is as he comes across the line out to 143.3 to get us underway. Which I'm going to presume is probably going to be beaten quite quickly. Let's stick on board with crowding. Obviously, there are a few drivers going to be completing the lap times. R13 goes the best part 3 seconds slower compared to his teammate, and Jerome going 3 seconds nearly slower again. So some drivers finding it quite difficult or going for an extra attempt crowding there, nearly outbraking himself into turn 14, but gets away with it just about there. That is an interesting question, Jack, as David goes quickest now by just over. In fact, nearly half a second actually. There, how does Crowden get on? The answer is he goes into P3, the best part of 9 tenths down though off what David has done at the moment. And then Quantum goes just over a tenth and a bit quicker than his teammate to the 142.7. BRC, that is Audi man, he's coming into the pits. We'll stick him with his teammate, that's Sheely91. So, Jack, what is my... oh, you subscribed with Prime. Nice. Jamie, you know what to do with the ads. Just come off the stream, come back on again. But again, there's not a great deal I can do about the ads. I'm not the one who does that. I don't get paid for it, as their Steve now goes half a second quicker than Quantum there. But yeah, Jack, in answer to your question, what's my favourite road signal? It has... there are a few very weird ones. Like, you got the road sign that's meant to look like a deer, which does not look like a deer at all. It's just something completely different. I guess maybe that one, I don't know. I also do like the ones that, I'm just going to go with that one. I'm just trying, there's too many of them to actually even try to think about. I suppose I could say I do like the national speed limit sign just because it means, you can go up to 60 or 70 miles an hour. I will obviously state that because that is being a good boy and sticking to the speed limit. Not. So yeah, we'll go with that one. Adam, what's my prediction on who wins today? No, national speed limit does not mean it's unlimited. No, it means you can go up to 60 miles an hour on a single carriageway and 70 miles an hour on a dual carriageway on motorway. That's what it means. We're not on the Autobahn in Germany, where you can go as quick as you like. As Finley goes into P7 there with a 43.1. IRT out on top with a front row lockout as it currently stands. So the Aston Martin Geo doing a very good job at these early stages. Caden now coming through turn... I forgot what turn number that is now. Turn 12 there. This is turn 13. But who's going to win today? Obviously, I'd like to say SCI, but I don't think that is going to be the case today. That's just not me being horrible. That's just my opinion. I am going to go with I'm actually going to go with a Quantum victory. So let's go with a Quantum win, as the hype train apparently is incoming. There we go. So whoever's put that on, yeah, there you go. Go and do exactly what it says. Here comes Caden across the start-finish line. He goes into provisional pole now, ahead of IRTC by about nearly 400ths of a second there, and good lap there by the Racing Bull. Kevin Zumberg now demolishes that lap time by almost 8 tenths. We're now into the mid 41s, and 41.4 to be exact. That's a great time there. by Kevin, who apparently is some people's pick here for the win tonight. Let's go on board with Sapala. VNT they've not had a lot of good luck recently and have been performing quite under par for their standards. Like I said, they've lost that P2 position in the team standings now, back into P3, and we want to get that back as much as they can. So it is down to Sapala and Nico, who did race last week, to see if they can overhaul Quantum and David, who also raced last week. So it's the same pairing for those two teams. Let's see what they can do and see who can outdo the other one. Into the braking zone of turn 14 here for the Red Bull of Sapala. Nicely done there, no real issues actually, very tidy there. David now goes into the high 1:40s. The track just getting quicker and quicker by the looks of it. The rain seems to be getting ever so slightly lighter. Here comes Sapala to the 9. He now goes to provisional pole by nearly 3/10 to David with a 40.6. I mean, we're just going to take these times with a pinch of salt, really, with the fact that they're just going to get quicker and quicker. Nilo, though, seems to be struggling. He's invalidated his latest attempt and still has not yet set a lap time. Shumi is 9/10 down. He is not on a lap. Let's find somebody who's coming to the end of the lap who is. Let's go on board with Swifty, who's about a second up at the moment, as Nick now goes back onto provisional pole. Sorry, not back onto provisional pole, but goes onto provisional pole with a 40.4. 3 minutes left on the hype train, everybody, if you want to get that going. Not that that's probably going to happen. But yeah, either way, let's... if you want to go and spend some money, then please go ahead and do so. Swifty goes into P6 behind the two FRT drivers of Quantum and David with a 41.2 there. Decent final sector, apparently. Let's take that with a pinch of salt, see if that's actually going to be realistic or not. RW6 is about to start his latest attempt. Crowding is not on a lap cadence, just started. Nico 1.5 seconds up as he comes into turn 14. The heavy braking zone, gets the car stopped, rotates it in quite nicely there. Not quite as good as his teammate, I think, as I saw a couple of minutes ago, but nonetheless it was decent enough as he comes to the kink of turn 17. Keep the car over to the left outside. The battery is now fully deployed. Now that is some strobe aspect. That's just going to make people who who are affected by strobe lighting have an absolute panic attack. But Nico goes on to provisional pole, outdoes Nick by 0.5 of a second, as Finley, I just noticed, popped into P3 for SCI. Go, 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 Jerome. Well, Jerome currently is, where is he? He's P8 at the moment, just ahead of his teammate. So TF10, sorry, TF10. TF10 Jerome, yeah, doing okay. More time to be found, but doing okay. Let's see. Is Nilo on another attempt? No, he is not. Shumi, is he on a lap? It looks like he is. Down in P16, the slowest driver to set a lap time at the moment. Hopefully this is a better and much improved lap time here for the BRC driver in the Haas. Where's it going to be? It's up to P11, so respectable 41.2. Joins a number of drivers in that 41.2 club, in fact the slowest of the 41.2 drivers. But you can see here the differences that, you know, people going for 3 and 4 laps on these intermediate tyres to then go again. So maybe, yeah, just drivers getting their foot in, just making sure that excuse me, just get accustomed to these conditions. Yellow flag then. I think that's just the driver who's running out of fuel as Caden goes back onto provisional pole as he was about 4 minutes ago with a 40.1. So what is pole position going to be? As RW6 now goes onto provisional pole with a 40.0, and he's done 5 laps on those intermediates. So yeah, again, just showing that these tyres are holding up quite nicely, but maybe it's going to be a case of, as always, last driver to start their lap is going to be that you have the best conditions and will potentially be the quickest as long as you don't invalidate it, which hopefully is what Audi Man is not doing. And in fact he's not. He's going to set a representative lap time here as he comes around the final corner now. Where does Audi Man go? It's P9, goes and he's into the 41.1s now, so I think it's going to be what, 30, maybe could get into the 38s here at this rate for drivers. So see what they get on. Nilo still in a curious predicament at the moment. The fact he's on a 49.7, the best part of, what is that? 8 seconds nearly off the crowding in front of him, but he's on a good lap here at the moment. Purple middle sector, apparently. We'll see if that is going to be the case. Obviously, TRT starting P19 and P20 with their double qualifying ban for the penalty points that they've accumulated this season. So Christian will be 19th, Dome will be 20th. It's down to the remaining 18 drivers as to where they will be on the grid. Here comes Nyla now through the final corner, flings the car into the left-hand side. What is it going to be? It's a 39.5, and finally he gets a lap time on the board, and a good one at that as well. And yeah, clears the field by over half a second until Swifty now goes into 39s with a 39.8 of his own. Ferrari there starting a lap. That would be Kevin Zumberg. Let's go on board with apparently Knight's prediction for the win here tonight. He is betting his entire life savings on Kevin to win here tonight. So Kevin, you have a job on your hands. You've got to do Knight proud here, and hopefully he doesn't lose however much is in his savings, which, well, could be anything, it could be nothing. Oh look, Smeggy's finally in the chat. Hello Smeggy. As here comes Kevin now, coming through turn 6 in now into turn 7. Car on the inside there, again completely out the way, gets the car turned in nicely through 8. This is such a slow section. It's so tedious, and drivers just got to make sure they get the car turned in at the right time, going no more than kind of 80-90 miles an hour in these intermediate conditions. Now coming through the kink of turn 10. This is now turn 11, I think, yes. And look at the rear end on that Ferrari sliding in, and he's turned in too early, and that is the one corner in particular the drivers are going to struggle with here, and that is the turn 12. They're cutting it too much, and Kevin is just going to have to either back out. It looks like he's going to carry on. I'm going to guess he's going to go into the pits and put on a fresh set of boots to go for one more attempt, but that is certainly not what he would have wanted, and what potentially could have been a very, very good lap. Quite a few drivers on outlaps, some are in the pits. Swifty and Nilo obviously finished their laps before. They're just trying to get back to the pits to get another fresh set of boots and go again for one more attempt. They're going to have to be quick though. But so, who's going to be the next driver to start lap time? I think it is actually it's Crowding, and indeed it is Crowding. So, let's see how he does. As we come through the first few turns now, that is through turn 4. On the battery, on the overtake. Like I said, would be a DRS zone in normal conditions, in dry conditions, but obviously we're not going to have that here in qualifying. Into the 90-degree right-hander of turn 5 here, keeps it well away from the wall there. Nicely done there from Crowding. A second up at the moment, which sounds good at this point, but still with 3 minutes to go, probably going to have to find quite a bit more time. But he might have enough time, maybe, to have one more attempt after this. I think he might just do, you know, with a bit of a cool lap, but he might have to get his skates on as we come through turn 10. Now turn 11, keeping the car to the left hand side and bringing it over to the right for turn 12. Do not cut it too much on the inside as we saw Kevin do. That is nicely done there from Crowding, no problems there, and the lap is still validated. Over 2 seconds up now on his current best lap time, so this is actually probably on course for a provisional pole here for Crowding, but obviously a lot of drivers now coming back out onto track for go for one more final attempt. Crowding may have enough time to go for a cool lap and go again. His teammate gets completely out of the way on the left hand side there. As then we come into turn 14 on the brakes. Nicely done there, no problems, and a little bit of a wiggle there on the exit, but nothing really substantial. Let's ride on board with him as we come to the finish line now, keeping it in the middle of the track to then turn left. Interesting one there from Crowding. He's just going to scrub some speed, but it's a 39.2 and he goes on to provisional pole for the time being, but let's see how everybody else does in the meantime. Nico is on a lap, but he's quite a bit off there, as there goes Cooperfan now, goes over nearly half a second quicker than Crowding, and into the 38 now we go. So could we see 37s potentially? There's a lot of cars here that's close together. Out on track, Jerome has backed out of his lap, so he's going to go again afterwards. Shumi Legend has also backed out, as has Philippe Freisack. So I'm going to guess it's going to be Caden. Nico, is Nico going? It looks like he might be. Caden's 2 seconds. Nope, he's 4 seconds down now. It's decided to wake up. Who's the lead Red Bull? I think it's Nico. Or has he backed? I don't know. Has he actually backed out? Look at the train of cars on that start-finish straight, and you've got a Red Bull here that is wanting to get a lap time and go quicker on the board, but he's actually now. I think he's actually now backed out, actually, come to think of it. Yeah, it definitely looks like... Oh my, that is a car park. That is a car park. Oh my word, and that is almost a crash. I mean, I understand everyone is fighting for track position here, but it's a good thing that Nico backed out of his lap, because bloody hell, that could have been almost, if not worse than an airplane crash. But yeah, drivers just, yeah, look at that. I'm just going to go back to someone who's in this melee. Look, I mean, there's Shumi Legend, for example. Look at that, just 20 seconds to go here. This is like real life. Well, the BRC drivers are battling with each other here. And Audi Man has just completely shoved his teammate kind of out of the way here, and there's shenanigans, and then there is this. There's drivers now going side by side across the start finish line. You got an Alpine there side by side with Williams coming in towards turn one. It is not Jerome. He's actually absolutely fine. Quantum is not the lead driver. It is David. So David is the first driver as the rain has stopped. I mean, this is well, softs probably could be quicker now, but obviously there's no point in going for that. So this is the final attempt for all of these drivers. There's that big cluster of drivers all together. Then you've got the likes of those here at the front. They've got no issues, but will not have the best track conditions. But here comes David now, 2.5 seconds up through the middle sector. Who invited Epic Vale? That's a very interesting. Yeah. It's yeah, no more. The least said of that, the better. But here goes David now into turn 14, the final braking zone of this Las Vegas Las Vegas lap through turn 16. Now one more corner to go. It is just the kink of turn 17 here for David as he comes to the start finish line now, throws the car to the left hand side, cuts in as much as he can. It's a 37.6. That is the time that the drivers have to be. You've got all this melee of cars though all together. Here comes Philippe now through the final corner. Can he beat David there for pole? The answer is no. He's 2 tenths down, but goes into P2 for the time being. Quantum now goes half a second clear of his teammate. Does a 37.1. Kevin only goes P4. Not the best of lap times from him. Nico now goes into P2. Finley now goes into P2. Let's go on board with Caden, who's getting a little bit. In fact, he's actually invalidated his lap time. Nick goes into P6. RW6 is P4. VNTF now 5th. I'm just going to wait for drivers to finish their lap times because of how close they all are together. There's absolutely no point in trying to commentate on that. We'll have an echo, Jamie. That was a bad idea. That's just hurt my throat, actually. Either way, though, that is qualifying over and done with. And in the end, it is FRT's Quantum who takes pole position here at the for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, followed closely by the 2 SCI drivers of Finley and Nilo, P2, P3. RW6 with a very respectable P4 there from Sapalo, Nico, and David there. So look at that. VNT and FRT all fairly close together for P2 in that battle in the Teams Championship. Nick ends up in P8 from Philippe, and Kevin Zumberg rounds at the top 10, crowning with a respectable P11 in the end from Shumi, Cooper Fan, Swifty, Audi Man, Caden, Seeb, Jerome, and then obviously TRT with a double qualifying ban will start at the back of the grid. Right. Let's right, we'll give the drivers until 31, gives them about just over 2 minutes or so to get their strategies, their setups, and whatever else sorted that they would like to do. But yeah, I don't understand that. What, again, drivers at the end of a qualifying session, why are we doing this? Why are we all bunching up all together and then trying to overtake each other? Especially the 2 BRC drivers coming to blows together. And yeah, Shumi just, well, his qualifying was over and done with. He just decided that he'd had enough. Pretty much. Excuse me. Ugh, and again, that was that's just my just the roast chicken that I had for tea, just not coming up, but yeah. Well, yeah, 47 of you in watching tonight. Probably the highest numbers we've actually had for quite some time, so thank you all very much for being here, and I hope you are enjoying this the stream as it is. Like I said, 3 rounds to go, this being the third to last race here at Vegas. Obviously we have 2 rounds to go of this TTC Premier Tier season. Obviously, as usual, we end it up in Abu Dhabi, as it pretty much is for everywhere, but next week we do go to the Temple of Speed. That is, of course, Monza, which I am certainly looking forward to. One of my personal favourite tracks, that is, without a shadow of a doubt. Less than a minute to go before we get going. Get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this race? Knight is still thinking that Kevin is probably going to. Jack, what's with the interesting questions here tonight? What's my favourite brand of chocolate? Well, I do have like a top two, Jack. That I kind of can't choose between them, but my two personal favourites are a toffee crisp and a double decker. They are my go-tos. It's not too sickly at all. You just can't handle it because you're a wuss. That's what it comes down to. Crowding actually just doing my job there for me, saying that what time we're starting. Thank you very much, Crowding. Saves me for having to do my job twice. You lose the delicacy of the chocolate. Yeah, but it's just so nice. To me, it's one of the goat chocolates. But again, everyone's got their own opinion. To be fair, I do like a lot of different types of chocolate. If I'm brutally honest, could be Dairy Milk, could be Galaxy, Malteser, Twix. I do like a good Twix. To be fair, as well. But again, those are just my favourites. Nonetheless, we have 5 red lights here for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. It is lights out and away we go. We're not hanging around here. We're going straight away here. And it's a good start there from Quantum. And an even better start from RW06 there on the second row, trying to get alongside the SCI drivers. But in the end, had to back out and just slot it behind there. Sapala in P5. Coming to the threat from David, who's managed to try and get ahead of Nico there. And he has done so. David there. Oh, that's a spinning Kevin Zumberg there in the background. There's more contact made. I think there was some carbon fibre being flicked up there. Not sure what happened there. Excuse me, to Kevin, but that was him sent round, and he's got it all to do now from P20. Oh dear, sorry, Knight, I think you may have jinxed it, I'm afraid. With him potentially winning, as we're still side by side here with RW06 and Sapala. These two just going hammer and toast between the pair of them, wheel bagging. RW06 did not want to relinquish that position, but in the end he has to, and Sapala goes into P4. Here comes David now on the back of that Williams in front of him. He'll want to get ahead. He knows he's got to challenge the VNT drivers. He's managed to jump one of them at least. He's ahead of Nico, as the ball on there has just been completely taken out of turn 12. It didn't even last a lap. For all the drivers to go through. But let's ride on board with the kick Sauber here of David there, who's trying to tuck into the slipstream of that Williams in front of him, who's doing the same on the Red Bull, who is over a second already off the back of the Mercedes. Is RW6 going for a move? No, he is not. David slots in behind it there, but RW6 going for a late braking move. I don't think he wanted to go for that. He just wanted to make sure he did not hit the back of that Red Bull. But in the end, David just slots in behind. So does RW6, but David now has got a much better run through 16. Coming to the kicker 17, he shows his nose to the inside line. He goes side by side with the Williams, and Nico is also looking interested. David goes ahead. Does Nico go ahead? Oh, that's contact. That's wheel on wheel there. And unfortunately, RW6 has been sent slightly spinning there. That'll probably get taken in if I'm honest. The move was just not on there really for Nico. And if I was VNT, I would let him go and let him get back ahead and not let that go into the stewards. Either way, though, Sapala has now lost out to David, and David has got himself ahead by the end. Well, after a lap in one sector, is ahead of both VNT drivers. So FRT doing what they need to do and to try and maintain what is now their new second place in the standings, as RW6 now coming to the threat from Nick, and RW6 is just getting absolutely bullied here by all the drivers here towards the front of the field. He manages to just about hold on to P7. Nick there has got better traction on the exit of turn 8, coming through and 9 in through 10 and 11, and RW6 nearly hits the wall, and the crowding does hit the wall though. Oh, and he's sent into the wall now. He's going backwards. That is not ideal, crowding. That is Caden, sorry, he's not crowding. I do apologise. It's actually Caden who's been sent backwards. That was absolute. I don't even know what that was, but it was not ideal. And we have a VSC as a result of that humongous crash there for Caden, who just got sent into the wall. I am surprised his car has not been completely wrote off and he's still going. But yeah. My throat is hurting as a result of that. That is not ideal. What I was just going to try and say at some point is the tyre strategies that everyone is on. Everyone is on the mediums apart from Christian, Kevin, Steve, and Caden, obviously, who has had that incident. He will go into the box. He's not going to be the only driver either, as Dom has now lagged out and left the session. But Audi Man has gone into the box, and Caden obviously will be doing the exact same thing. Still under VSC conditions, though. Quantum still maintains the lead, as he has done from the first corner, really. But we've got two groups of three here, just about. And then you've got that gap to RW6 in P7 after the carnage and shenanigans that went on there. So you've got Quantum leading the first train from Nyla and Finley, and then you got Davin leading the second train ahead of both VNT drivers, as Audi Man gets a drive-through penalty, and I'm guessing that's because he's left the pit lane, and the game has decided, you know what, you're just going to get one because I feel like that's what I'm deciding, and that's what's going to happen. But yeah, then you got RWL6 now leading the rest of the field pretty much all the way down to P18. Which is not exactly ideal. Christian now getting a move done on Swifty there for P14. He's now the lead hard tyre runner. Ugh, he's got the chrome livery on that McLaren. That is absolutely awful. I absolutely hate it. Either way, Kevin has managed to recover now up into P16 after the first lap contact, and he got sent round there. Oh look, there's Max Verstappen on the Hard Rock banner. That's lovely. As here comes our IRT's Nick now going into P7, gets ahead of RW6, who again just falling down the field after that great qualified performance. His teammate now looking like he wanted to get a potential move done into turn 14. But either way, just about deals with it. Bobbert, look at Discord. There's a lot of connection problems. Right. Well, I mean, I'm guessing it was all fine in qualifying. I mean, how many? I mean, it's a case of how many drivers are reporting it. I mean, is it a handful? Is it a lot of people? The issue I've got now is obviously if I restart it, is the fact that, you know, we are on lap 4 of the Grand Prix. It's not like it's in between sessions. I hate it when you have to decide as to what to do. Yeah. Let me just go back towards the front just so we can get well, I say a little bit of action. All the action is actually coming in further behind. We'll stick on board with crowding. Right, I'm going to have to find the rule book here, so everyone, I will flick in between sort of like watching battles, etc. I'm going to have to find the rule book regarding restarts. Right, okay, so rule 4.8.3. If a number of minor game glitches and or a major game glitch occurs in either of the sessions, the admins can decide to stop the session. The glitches have to cause a real hindrance in the progress of the session and or cause unsafe situations in the side-by-side racing. Cars stuck on the starting grid and desync on a large scale are examples. I mean, it's a case of... Is that classed as a large... If it's lag, then I can't do anything about it. It's... You know, if it's actual desync, then that's a different thing altogether. I'm trying to sort of watch at the same time, although I have missed the last lap of this entire race, obviously, by checking that rule. All I can say is that David has closed in, obviously, onto the top three. So we've got a train of 6 at the front. You've got Nick and Ardu who are 6 and now just together on their own. Then you've got Crowning leading the next train all the way down to Swifty in P17. Right, so the issue with Crowding's one, well, the one with Crowding then on Kevin, is because the fact that Kevin was obviously constantly ghosting because he was inside another car. I can't do a great deal about that. That's an issue with the ghosting. That's not down to the game itself. So I'm not restarting for the game technically doing its right thing, and then he just became unlucky at the worst possible time, I suppose. As Dom has now left the session, I guess he cannot take control of his car. So but the thing is, it happens on lap 1. We've seen it happen on numerous occasions throughout the season where ghosting has occurred and people generally get away with it. It's just that here, that's just not seen to be the case. But now that I've wasted 2 laps trying to look at this and sort it out, we will continue the race. If I have done the wrong thing, then you can call me out. But I personally think it's not a game issue. It's the ghosting aspect, and then he's just been unlucky at the worst possible time. And that's how I see it. Either way, sticking on board with the actor. No, well, there's more death. That is not down to ghosting or lag. That's just down to side-by-side contact between Seeb and Cooperfan and the Williams duo. Well, Adam 6 has now settled down in P8, but now Seeb has sent Cooperfan into the nearly into the Shadow Realm, and yeah, that's him now down into P17. Out in front, the top 6 are kind of still on their own, not really doing anything, apart from the fact that David is now down to P6, and both VNT drivers have got ahead of him. I've completely missed that. I'll just say it's your age, don't worry. Yeah, we'll just go with my age. I mean, yeah, why not? That's always the safest bet, I suppose you could say. Obviously, it's a shame that on a different note, Caden has retired. Obviously, it wasn't his fault, but yeah. Now it's all down to crowding for ART and as him to get the points in here. But yeah, so Quantum leads this train of 6. It is an FRT sandwich with SCI and VNT, as the fillings in the middle. So the top 3 teams in the standings here, the top 6 positions. You got Nick and RW6 in P7 and P8 having their own little mini battle, I guess you could say, followed by Crowding, Jerome and Shumi all together. Then you got Philippe and Kevin now sort of trying to work together in P12 and P13. Kevin having a decent comeback here, and he is now being told to get his telling his teammate to move the hell out of the way. I'm quicker, the hard tyres are now the better tyre, let me get ahead and try and close in on the train of 3 drivers in front. So he's now in P12 with his teammate P13. Seeb rounds out the point scorers at P14. Christian is now to P15 after starting 19th with TRT's double qualifying ban, as he locks up very nicely. They're going into turn 6, followed by Swifty. Then you got Cooperfan after his incident that he had just before, just struggling a little bit here. Unfortunately, Dome, who I think has rejoined and taken control, maybe. Not too sure. Looks like he has done. And then Audi Man, who obviously made that early pit stop because of damage, and is P19. We'll stick on board with the leaders as Nilo and Finley. Are they going to swap very close together? The answer is no. David's struggling here, though. Only just about sticking to the back of him. He's not got any damage, but David does not seem to have the pace to stick with the top 5 here. He's going to have to get a move on, make sure he does not lose the DRS. He's going to have to use that battery as much as he possibly can, and in fact David is actually going for an early pit stop here. He's decided to jump the gun, pit at the end of lap 8. The tyres should be able to go to the end, but he wants that undercut to try and propel himself further up the grid. Obviously he needs to make sure that FRT are not outscored by VNT so they can stick in that P2 in the standings. So right on board here with Nico. This 5-car train here at the front. It's Quantum from Nilo, from Finley, from Nico and Sapala. The top 5 in this race. They have a 4-second gap back to Nick, currently in P6, who has RWO6 for company. Those two, like I said, just been dragging themselves around. David has come out in clean air. He's ahead of Cooper fan, so at least he's not going to be stuck behind that Williams throughout the entirety of his outlap here. But it's now going to be a case of what do the rest of these drivers do. So does Quantum pit in this lap, and then it's an FRT, and then at least had both drivers pit in at these early stages of the Grand Prix. 1/3 distance now into this race as we come down the Las Vegas Strip once again. Look at all the lights that you've got on here. I mean, it's just, I'm not even going to say it's cool, really, if I'm brutally honest. It's just, that's just Las Vegas for you. I've been there though. I do like it. By the way, nothing really happening here in the top 5, and to be honest, nothing really happening in further behind. The only thing I can say is Crowding and Jerome have done a good job here, and they've closed in on RWO6 and Nick, and they've now made this a 5-car train, as Shumi is trying to stick with them. Seba's got a move done on Kevin for P11, and Quantum does indeed go into the pits, as does Finley and Sapala, so as expected. FRT have had both drivers pit now. SCI and VNT respond with their first of their drivers to make a pit stop, all going onto the hard compound tyres, and it's Nico and Nilo who stay out for another lap, and we'll have to see where they come out in relation to the rest of them. But where is Quantum going to be in relation to his teammate? He's coming out of the pits now. Here comes David. Is David going to get the jump here on Finley? The answer is yes, he is. David is ahead of both Finley and Sapala, and that is a great undercut attempt there from the FRT driver, from the FRT van. Sorry, he's now behind his teammate, and FRT can now potentially try and control this race here from the front. Obviously, with Nilo and Nico staying up for another lap, this could be exactly what FRT need, not only just to try and extend the championship battle into next week, but to cement their place in P2 in the standings. Now is Nico going to go for a move here on Nilo? It would be I get my words out. It would be the wise thing to do here. Trying to get a jump on the Mercedes and the SCI mind just for track position when they come to pit. And Nico does indeed get the move done. So he takes the lead for the time. But these two drivers, oh, Nico there with a massive tail slip there. The car complaining for traction. But these two are now going to go into the pits. At the end of lap 10 here, Sieb will take the lead of this race on his hard tyres. But let's see where these two come out in relation to the rest of them who have made a pit stop. That is Shumi Legend now coming into the box as well to get him rid of his mediums. Is Philippe going to do the same thing off his? Quite possibly. Yes, he is. Now let's watch this top 4. I say net top 4, I should say, as we're almost going 3 wide there. We are going nearly 3 wide there. That is Finley going for a move down into turn 1 of David. He wants to get the move done. There comes Nico and Nilo out of the box, but David just holds on for the time being. But here comes Finley once again. Both have got DRS. He's going to have the inside line here into turn 5. He hasn't got any more battery, but he wants to get this move done. David's so late on the brakes there, and so just about got away with it between the pair of them. Almost side pod to tyre contact there. Finley, is he going to go right the outside here? Surely not, through turn 6 and 17. Yes, he has done. What a move there from Finley round the outside of David, who put up a stern defence there. Fair play to him. But Finley gets the move done. He splits the two FRT drivers, and he wants to try and get the job done for SCI here tonight. It's all down to what his teammate can do now. But these drivers are all now back together. But obviously, Nico and Nilo have got the freshest tyres. Yeah, that's an interesting comment there, Smeggy. But I'll tell you what, if he is engineering, it might actually work out here for them, considering that, with the freshest tyre aspects and how it is currently looking for them. But here comes David on Finley now, and here comes Sapala. He did not have the DRS, so David takes the position back, and Sapala now goes ahead of Finley. So that great move that he pulled off kind of come to no avail in the end, and he gets overtaken by not one but 2 drivers. Here comes Sapala now on David. He wants to get ahead of the FRT driver. We're side by side through turn 17 when he gets the move done. Now Nico wants to get ahead of Finley around the outside to turn 1, but Finley's going for a move on David into turn 1. It was a bit of ghosting there, maybe a little bit of contact between the pair of them. In fact, there is a bit of ghosting excuse me, between the pair of them, but Finley gets back ahead And David, at least for the time being. Here comes Nico now being squeezed to the right hand side there. We see coming to the braking zone on turn 5. Don't brake too late here, boys, and hit the driver in front of them. Oh, Finley then with a bit of a lock up there, costing him time on the exit. David now is just going to have to stick it behind. Here comes Nico now. He's going to send it down the inside. Just backs out at the end, realises the move is probably not on there. No real point in going for it. But this is getting very dicey, and it's hotting up here between the top 3 teams here in the standings. What this is actually doing, though, is Nick is actually slowly gaining on them. He's now 1.3 seconds off the back. He's not obviously within DRS, but if they keep squabbling and keep fighting, it will certainly give him a chance. Has Sapala got the DRS on the back of Quantum, who has just been watching this all unfold behind him? The answer is no. I don't think Finley has got it on the back of Sapala either. He does not. So here comes Nico now with his latest attempt. He's near enough run out of battery now. Does he go for the move? The answer is no. He stays in behind. Actually thinks a bit smart there, deciding that there is no real point because he'll obviously want to close in on his teammate if he can. Nilo stays in behind. He's got ahead of David now. So David, with that undercut, has now gone back to the back of this group, and he's got the oldest tyres as well to show for it as Nilo just forces his way down the inside into turn 17 on Niku there, who probably did not see that coming, but Nilo gets the move done. He gets out of Nico and gets into P7 now. Oh my word, but Quantum in the meantime is now just pulling away from them. I actually did say he'd win this race as he gets the move done there on Christian, who does not hold him up. He just lets him go there into turn 5. But Quantum is going to be absolutely loving what's happening behind him. He's now streaking away, and I mean, if he does win this race, I did say that he would. Maybe my prediction could be right. I wonder what odds we would have had on Quantum winning, and maybe I should have put an actual bet on. Kevin leads the race at the moment on his hard tyres. He still has to pit, as does Steve. They're in P2. These two just been swapping places between them just to take it in turns to lead this. Quantum less than 3 seconds behind them. Then you have Christian in P2, who now might actually help Sipala here with a bit of DRS to try to close in. Potentially onto Quantum if he can. Does Christian have DRS though on the back of Quantum? The answer is no, but Sipala does not have a lot of battery to go for a move, so I guess he'll just save it to just slowly close in behind. In behind these guys though, Nilo goes ahead of Finley, who did not have the DRS. Nico goes ahead of him as well. So now it's 6th now. Nico 7th and Finley in 8th. David's still hanging on in P9, but look who has now joined the party. And he's not just brought himself along for the ride, has Nick, but RW6 is now in on this. So you've got more cars joining in on this battle, because this slot here, especially for David, Finley, Nico, Nilo and Sapala, are all just battling like crazy. But now Sapala is in behind Christian on his 13-lap old hard tyres. He's got to get held up. He's got to get the move done, and he's got to get it done now. Christian moves over to the right-hand side, just actually lets the Red Bull go. Does not want to hold him up. Sapala now goes into P4. 1.6 seconds now is the gap between himself and Quantum there for what will be the net lead of this race. Here comes Nilo now trying to close in on the back of Christian. He'll just stick him behind him and maybe just get the DRS going down the Las Vegas Strip into the braking zone of 14 here. Nilo obviously with the freshest tyres along with Nico in this lead group. 3 yards. Yeah, I've got 3 yards as well actually. Excellent. But no, Smeggy, we're not chopping you. Well, we could castrate you if you really wanted to. But that's entirely up to you. Nilo got the move done there on Christian, by the way. Probably not the wisest thing to do, if I'm brutally honest. But here comes Nico now. He's going to try and get a move done on the McLaren in front of him, who actually might go for a move back on Nilo if he's actually close enough. Here comes Nico now to the left-hand side. Will be the inside line here for turn 14. Slightly later on the brakes. Gets the move done. Nice, controlled, clean move there. And that's him now up into P6. Finley now want to get a move done on this McLaren, who hasn't really been holding anybody up, if I'm brutally honest. He's not really been defending. Finley decides to go to the outside here through 17. So you have the racing line into turn 1. Does David now try and follow him through? He goes down the inside into turn 1. A little bit of had to turn the car in twice there, really. 2 attempts there to get the car turned into turn 1 and turn 2. But he gets the move done. David now up into P8 as it currently stands, and these guys can now go hammer and tongs at it between them once again. Nick now, the next driver to get a move done on Christian, who decided this time he's not going to block. or just let everybody go. He's just going to stick as he was. Quantum now gets the move done on Kevin for his P2 in this race. Probably a good thing as well, considering the fact that Sapala is actually going to have DRS on the back of Kevin now, obviously. You know, between 8 and 10 lap fresher tyres. We've got a yellow flag. That is Christian in the wall. Was he put in the wall there by Nick? I am not too sure. Or was it RW? It might have been RW6 actually, considering he's now lost places. Potentially an incident there between RW6 and Christian. Considering that, like I said, RW6 has lost the best part of, well, quite a bit of time, about 5 seconds or so, and a couple of places. Answers on a postcard, please, for that one, and if anybody knows. But Quantum now retakes the lead of this race. Sapala now goes ahead of Kevin, what is now for P3. And then you've got Nico, who's now got ahead, and that is a Kevin with wing damage. I have just seen that. Indeed, there it is. Kevin's got a lot of wing damage, so I'm guessing there was a bit of contact there. He now goes into the box as Nilo now wants to get a move done here on Nico. He does get that done. Kevin speeds into pit lane. I think that's his race over and done with. So, Knight, unfortunately, your prediction of a Kevin win is just not really going to happen now, let's be brutally honest. Anyway, back to the battle. Quantum, 1.9 second lead over Sapala in P2. Nilo now goes into P3 for SCI, so the top 3 teams each on one step of the podium. Nico in P4 from Finley in P5, and David there rounding up the top 6. And you've got Nick here in P7, who's done a good job to catch up to these, and he's now sticking with them. So fair play to Nick here, having a very good race for IRT as it currently stands. But Nilo now wanted to try and close in on Sapala if he can. Is he going to have the DRS? Was he within the 1 second detection point of the Red Bull in front of him? Nico will be hoping that he didn't, and the answer is he did not. So possible move here then for Nico to get ahead of the lead SCI driver, and indeed he gets the move done. He gets himself now to P3. It is currently now a VNT double podium, and now that he's within the 1 second, VNT can work together here to at least get a double podium lockout, with Quantum leading the way and pulling away out in front ahead of Sapala. It is down to what is, you know, this is between Sapala, Nico, Nilo, Finley, David, and Nick actually just about hanging on there at the back of this train for the final, well, for the second and third podium paying positions. As Finley and David now battling away for P5. I think David there trying to get a move done on the kick salver there. I think there was a mistake that just cropped in. Is David now going to go for a move down the inside into turn 5? The answer is no. He decides to back out to it, thinks better. Oh, it has a much better run though through turn 5 there. Finley just making a few little mistakes here and there. Just potentially obviously costing him a bit of time, but no harm done. He just sticks in, but goes a bit wide there into turn 6. Compromises his run through 7 to try and close back in on his teammate if he can. Smeggy actually wrote these, I'm going to say wrote these 2 drivers up actually before this race, but they're doing a very good job here, it has to be said. Lap 17 out of 25, 2/3 of the way into this race now. I'm on 2/3 of the way into this race, and it is going very, very quickly. They're still written up. I mean, I wouldn't say they are, unless something else completely happens. Down with a straight up 10-second time penalty there for completely, I'm now in game chat. Haha, nobody needed to tell me this time. Haha. Either way, done, as I was trying to say, with a straight up 10-second time penalty by obviously just completely cutting a few corners. Inspiring. Anyway, Nilo now trying to close in on the back of Sapala. They've dropped the next 3 drivers behind them. Oh, Nilo there just sliding it in towards turn 1. I think, yeah, too much rear brake locking there potentially from the SCI Mercedes driver as we come through the exit of turn 4 here. Swifty now goes into the pits. Speeds into the pits as well as a result, and it's his session done with. I'm guessing he picked up some damage. Kevin sets the fastest lap of the race now. He goes into P14, so at least Kevin is at least on course for a point. At least that is Nick in the background sliding away there, thinking he's doing Tokyo drifting. Unfortunately, Ron, Japan was last week, I'm afraid, Nick, not this week. Yes, Knight, you probably could have raced, and maybe you should have done. But who knows? It's all, well, it's all done and dusted. Well, near enough all done and dusted, I should say, at least anyway. Sapala closing in onto the back of his teammate. These two swapped on the previous lap, just going to try and swap places and just try and save that battery as much as they can and hope that Nilo does not get ahead of the second VNT driver. What does Sapala do? Does he go for the move? Indeed he does. Nico goes into harvesting mode. Does Nilo get close enough to go for a move on that Red Bull? The answer is he's looking for it, but in the end just hangs in behind. A little bit of contact there on the back of the diffuser of the Red Bull, but in the end no harm done. Stays in P4, I should say. Finley still trying to stay with them as best as he can here in P5. David in P6, Nick in P7. You've got Crowding having a good race here for ART in P8 ahead of Jerome there in P9. RW6 recovering to a top 10 position after a potential contact, I think, with Christian. A few laps ago. Shumi now in P11, but he's got a hard charging Seeb on his medium tyres in P12, trying to gain some positions back from earlier on. We'll have a quick look at the position changes. So there you can see Jerome up 9 positions at the moment. So Jerome actually having a very, very good race and on course for a top 9 finish. Seem now goes into P11 on his medium tyres. There's the penalty situation as well, done with 20 seconds of penalties actually. Obviously we're driving too quick, for speeding into the pit lane and then just a straight up corner cut. But yeah, inspiring to say the least. Back on board with this battle from 2nd down to 7th. The gap out in front now down to 1.8 seconds. They are slowly gaining here on Quantum. This tactic from VNT is working, swapping excuse me, between them for the DRS to try and close in on the kick-out in front of them, and they've actually now gone over a second to clear of Nilo. So Nilo's struggling on this lap as it currently stands. Nico now goes back into P2, and they do gain a couple of tenths there or so down the pit straight by swapping and then saving battery. So it is working here. They could potentially catch Quantum here with 6 racing laps to go. Lap 20 now. We start lap 20 out of 25. Quantum still leads the way, but Nico and Sapala are doing their damnedest to try and close back in. Nilo is now back within a second of the 2 VNT drivers, which what he needs to do to have any chance if he wants to get at least one SCI driver on the podium. Finley there in P5, still down in P6. Nick in P7, still hanging on onto the back of his train. In fact, quite comfortably actually. He's got the most amount of battery out of anyone apart from Quantum leading this race. Jerome has now got the move done ahead of Crowning, but these two are just going to swap places until the end of the race. Seeb now goes into, has made the top 10. He's got ahead of RW6, and we'll see. I think, yeah, he's not really going to close 5 seconds on the back of Crowding and Jerome, so I think Seeb's in the best position I think he potentially is going to finish it, which is going to be P10 as it currently stands. Go back onto this group. Nico now 1.4 seconds off the back of Quantum and closing in ever so slowly. It's actually he's closing 4 tenths on this lap, actually doing a very good job. That is a yellow flag. That I believe is Dome, and it is indeed Dome, who's just had a race to forget, I think it's fair to say. Yeah, does Sapala then go for the move on his team? I think Nico's got a little bit more pace compared to him, and the answer is no. So they stay in formation for this lap at least. Gap 1.3, 1.4, 1.3 now. So Nico gaining a tenth coming through the chicane there of 14, 15, and then through 16, and he's using that battery. I think Quantum really needs to know here he's got to use some battery here, or he's going to be closed in by the 2 VNT drivers, and Nico won't care that he's burning all his battery. He'll at least help his teammate who is saving his battery. And this is all important between these two teams. So obviously what is P2 in the overall standings. Oh, nice. You've got a huge test tomorrow, Polish class. Huh. Have fun with that. Oh, Sapala there. Rear end complaining for grip there. I think just too much on the loud pedal there. And almost sent the car into, well, potentially with into the wall. Oh, even I've got an ad now. That's lovely. But look at that gap now. It's under a second. Quantum being so conservative out. So conservative out in front, saving that battery. And Nico, yes, he's been using it to close in, but it's worked. Has he got the DRS? Bit of an issue there at the exit though of the
excuse me, what is that, turn 12, but does he have the DRS? The answer is no, but it's going to help his teammate Sapala there, uses the battery, he has the DRS now, he goes for the move, he now goes back into P2, and in fact actually they've not really gained on Quantum even with the DRS and battery usage there. I think Sapala's mistake has cost them any chance maybe on actually gaining and closing in as Crowding and Jerome swap places again. It's turn 14 and Crowding retakes P8 away from Jerome. Yeah, gap is 1.1 now out in front. 4 laps to go here in this Las Vegas Grand Prix of what has been a thrilling Las Vegas Grand Prix here, near enough from start to well, almost the finish. Still got 49 of you here watching. Thank you all very much for watching what is the Premier Tier TTC season. Obviously we are back tomorrow and Friday for the Artemis and Top Tier, so obviously stay tuned and please watch those races if you would like to, or yeah, just do it. Why the hell not? Dome goes for the soft tyres, deciding he's going to go for fastest lap here. That'll be interesting. There's a bit of team swapping again, as that is Kevin going ahead of his teammate Philip for P13 and P14 for the pair of them. Not the best of races there for them two, but Sapala now 1 second off the back of Quantum. Did he get within the 1 second window? Maybe Quantum on saving that battery is actually just done enough. Does Sapala have the DRS? The answer is no. Obviously Nico does, but they've now used their battery to try and close in. Here comes Nico. Sapala's just going to let him go. There goes the slipstream effect for the pair of them. But is it enough? Are they within a second? Oh, bit of an issue there, turning the car in there from Nico. But nope, that gap still remains at 1.2 seconds, and they've used their battery. Quantum's still got a fair bit left, at least compared to them. And I think maybe he's actually called it just about right here. But you'll have to see in these final 3 laps of this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Through the exit of turn 4, here they come once again. Quantum from Nico, Sapala, Nilo, Finley, David. Nick has now dropped back, unfortunately. Hasn't quite had the pace he's been struggling to. And I say, well, actually, no, he's not really been struggling, but I think his pace just isn't quite there compared to the top 6 here. It's been a valiant effort from him to try and stick with them and then close back in on them, obviously, as he did do initially. But it's been a good race here from Nick in P7 as it currently stands. RW6 has now picked up a penalty, batting away here with Shumi for what is P11 and P12 here, as he now locks up for good measure going into turn 6, and that is not ideal. What has happened to Sapala? I've missed this. He's now 2 seconds off the back of his teammate. Has there been an issue here for the Red Bull driver? Potentially there could have been, and a double podium attempt here for VNT is slipping away, and in fact he's now going to get swamped by both SCI drivers. There goes Nilo, there goes Finley. They now go into P3 and P4. I don't know what Sapala did there. Answers on a postcard, please. I wish I'd seen that. I do apologise that I went off board with it. But either way, that is VNT Sapala making a big mistake. He's now going to try and rectify that if he can. Try and get back ahead of Finley, at least coming into turn 1. Finley defends to the inside line, to the middle, and track Sapala very late on the brakes, trying to go round the outside here. But Finley says no, thank you. He shuts the door there on the inside, coming through turn 3 and now in through turn 4. And it is still P4 for Finley, Sapala in P5. David's going to try pick up any scraps if there is an incident between the pair of them, but that is what SCI needed to try and get the title done here tonight. There's now a 1.8 second gap though to Nico in front, so I don't really think there's going to be an overtaking opportunity, but a P3 and a P... I'm going to have to do some maths here now, aren't I, to see if the title is going to be wrapped up actually as a result of Sapala doing that. So where is the... So obviously the other thing I'll bear in mind as well is things like fastest lap as well, actually. I'm going to have a quick look and see who actually has the fastest lap. I'm on the wrong thing here, aren't I? So Kevin has the fastest lap, so we don't need to worry about that. In behind though, Sapala actually now coming under threat for David there, going into turn 14. David got very close there to the back of that Red Bull, who in turn has now got to the close to the back of Finley. Finley struggling, he needs his teammate to give him a helping hand here. Nilo purposely not going on the battery. Is there a chance here for Sapala? He's going to go to the inside this time. It's one much later on the brakes. Oh, the car's squirreling on the exit there. Didn't get the car stop. Did he get the car stop? Yes, he did. Finley now goes and David goes and beats Sapala's in the wall. That is why Sapala is in the wall. Contact there between him and Finley and potentially David as well. Well, he's one VNT driver now down and out. He's in P7. He's got Crowning now. There in P8. Crowning now goes into P7. He's actually got ahead of Jerome quite quickly. I didn't see that. But yeah, either way, big issue there for Sapala. Let's go back towards the front now though. Quantum with a 1.2 second advantage over Nico. So long as there's no mistake, he's got this done and dusted. The battle is for P3. But either way now, VNT, no matter what, are out of the title hunt. This actually, technically, it actually helps FRT here with David now promoting himself up into P5. Right, so it's what? It's 30 points for a win. And 5th place is 17. So that's 47 for FRT as it currently stands, with a 3rd and 4th being 80. Is it 36? I'll have to work out afterwards. Either way, he's been my man to win this race. Either way, he's led the race. He's been comfortable. The strategy was right. Quantum takes the win here from Nico in P2. Nyla takes P3. I've missed David actually passing Finley there for P4. I'm actually so useless, it's actually unreal. Either way, David takes P4 from Finley in P5. Nick takes a good P6 for IRT. Sapala, after his incident on the final lap, takes P7, 600ths ahead of Crowning in P8. Steve takes P9 ahead of Jerome. Shumi takes P11 from Philippe. Christian, after starting 19th, finishes in 13th. From RW6, from 4th on the grid, finishes P14. A race to forget for him. Kevin finishes outside the points in the end through his penalties, without a wait for Cooperfan, Dome and Audi Man to finish their final few laps. But that was a hectic race. So, FRT get a 1st and 4th, so that is 49 points. A 3rd and 5th for SCI is 37 points. So as a result, the title is not wrapped up here tonight. That overtake from David on Finley on the final couple of corners there, which I unfortunately missed, so sack me please, means that the title is not wrapped up here tonight. It goes into Monza. Yellow for Sapala. He's gone down too easy, ref. Yeah, maybe yellow card for simulation there, perhaps, Jeremy. But I think Grumpy, maybe you jumped the gun with Crowding getting that P7. But either way, he did a very good job. Not as good a job though as this guy out in here. He qualified. Sorry, he qualified on pole. He led the majority of the race, or at least was the lead driver in the train at the front, and it was my pick for the win, and it is Quantum who takes the victory here at Las Vegas. 8/10 in the end, it was the gap to Nico, who closed him down as much as he could towards the end of that race, but in the end it wasn't quite enough. One more lap and he might have actually had a slim chance there, but it's P2 for Nico nonetheless, and Nilo takes P3, so the top three in the standings, the team standings, each on the podium. David gets a last lap overtake done on Finley to get P4 ahead of the second SCI driver. Nick, like I said, takes P6 there. Sapala P7, Crowding P8, Steve P9, Jerome takes P10. Shumi, Philippe, Christian and RW6 are your final point scorers. Then you have Kevin, Cooperfan, Audi Man, Dome are your final finishers. Swifty and Caden, they're your retirees here tonight. Like I said, the title is not wrapped up here tonight. Ventari are no longer in the equation to win the title now, I'm afraid. So it is simply down to SCI and FRT. However, like I said, FRT had to outscore Shizou by at least 8 points to, well, sorry, 6 points to continue it over into next week. They did it by, I think, 8 in the end, if my maths is correct. So, so it does go into Monza, into next week, where SCI literally just need a handful of, literally just a few points, or a very small handful of points. Obviously, minus points are a thing. Teams can lose points. FRT, like I said at the start of the stream, have done it this season, as have BRC, to name just two of them. So it could, they could still get minus points and things could still potentially change. Is that likely to happen? Well, for Shizou's sake, let's hope not. But either way, that has been the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Like I said, tune into the top tier and the Artemis tier tomorrow night and Friday for their retrospective races. I will be back next week here, same time, same place, around the legendary Monza circuit, the Temple of Speed, for what's going to be a fantastic and potentially, well, team championship, well, not finale, but crowning, let's say. But from Mr. Bob's here in the box, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night and have a good week, everybody. Take care.